Growth is one of the distinguishing qualities of the human race. There's always that inward craving to become a better person as time goes by. Here is a show on peer mentorship that focuses on personal growth, whose positive effects will be manifested in the societies and communities where these people and individuals stay. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome to yet another episode of Learning, an episode of growth. Now, have you ever wondered or asked yourself what fosters effective productivity in school or workplace or in the little projects that you do from time to time? With me here is an interesting mind and soul, and I'm really honored to have her here. I'll allow her to introduce herself. Hi.
Hi, thank you for bringing me here. My name is Fairy and I'm doing a degree in Counselling Psychology at the moment.
Glad to have you here.
Just like a little disclaimer is that maybe what I might say here, especially in terms of symptoms regarding different mental health, is that people shouldn't take this like to heart, because for one, we're all different. So what might work for me may not work for all of you. And also self-diagnosis really isn't helping, because you might be doing more harm than good to yourself.
So now let's kick off. Everybody wants to embrace success. Everybody wants to be successful because it's nice. Everybody wants to be a star. But then in your line of work or school or study or anything, you reach to a moment where you hit a dead end and think that you can't do this anymore.
Yes.
Do you mind differentiating for us between these periodical burnouts and mental illnesses such as depression?
For starters, I'll just get like a definition so that I be very accurate to what I'm about to say. Burnout is usually something experienced of long time exhaustion. Could be of work, could be of maybe home, like something, but it's quite specific and it's over a long time, up until you realize, oh man, I'm actually really tired to do what I'm doing at the moment. Whereas depression, it's a pretty delicate illness where there are many different types of depression to begin with, so even defining it gets a bit complicated. But generally it's something or a feeling of feeling unworthy, tired, laziness, all the negative emotions for over 2 weeks and more. But then, like I said, since the different types of it, the depression could be short term or long term, or something like that, or seasonal. Whereas burnout usually is like a long term feeling of tiredness and exhaustion, up until that one day that you just explode and realize, man, I can't, I'm done, or I'm tired with what I'm doing at the moment, or what I'm taking on at the moment. Yeah.
So now, from your definitions, you mean to say that there might be a remedy for depression, but there's no remedy for burnout, or I got that wrong?
Not really, because unless you told me exactly what you mean by remedy.
Okay, this is what I mean by remedy. From your definition, I got that burnout is some stress that has been built until the day where you reach your elastic limit and you just explode. And it's more of getting tired, sort of, with what you're doing. Let's say if it's work, or if it's the people you're staying with, or it's school. So now that means that if this stress has built up for, let's say, a year or 2 years, and you finally get to the point of explosion, it might be difficult for you to get back to actually this thing that you got the burnout from. For instance, if it's work, if you have a burnout at work, from your definition and explanation, it will be difficult for you to come back and get rejuvenated. But for depression, we can bargain. Is that right?
Not necessarily, because even with depression, even just because it's over 2 weeks doesn't mean that this person is gonna take a short time to heal and get back to their normal way of life. But for burnout, usually it's experienced when people don't really get in touch with themselves and the environment. For example, if you are a working youth, but you still stay at home with your parents, and then you still school, like you work, you school, and you stay with your parents. So these are three things that are pretty tight on you, of course. And then maybe at a certain, there's a time at home where things can get a bit hectic, but you're not aware of that. Same as school, maybe it's the exam season, and then you go back home and everyone is asking you to do so many things, and you have also work stuff, but you don't make yourself fully wrapped into that. That's how someone tends to be burned out, because you're not really taking care of the things that are around you, or like you're aware that, okay, I have this many responsibilities, how can I branch them out to suit maybe my needs and my personality at the moment. So that's how someone usually ends up getting into the burnout state. But sometimes it could also just be the fact that you've been doing something for a very long period of time and you need change, but again, you did not notice it earlier for you to start taking the precautions or the necessary changes to ease down, hence burnout. So not necessarily that.
Of course, everybody deals with their shenanigans differently.
Yes.
The way you deal with your depression comes with the cause of that.
Yes.
It might not be the same necessarily as my case. So now, is there something general and common for all types of depression? Amazote, all of them are just far wide apart.
Okay. For starters, we have to distinguish between sadness, loneliness, and depression.
Oh.
Because I can be saying I'm really sad, but with how today mental health is being advocated, someone saying sad equivals that to I'm being so depressed. But those are two different things, because when I'm sad, it could be I don't know, I lost something, I'm just feeling sad. Also unexplained sadness. Actually, the other way someone could define depression is unexplained sadness, and it's prolonged. Okay. But then now you have sadness, loneliness, and depression. So once knowing this difference actually can also help us understand that, like I was saying in the beginning, that depression is pretty it's complex to begin with. I feel like I've encountered it. There are so many ways one can come out and feel like, can not identify, but you could tell this person is depressed, but it's so different, because like I was saying, for sadness, it's a feeling that you can feel today or tomorrow and then it's gone, or you could feel now and by an hour later it's gone. And then you have loneliness, where it's just, how do I define loneliness? It's that state of feeling unwanted or just not appreciated, so you just rather block out. And then you have depression, which literally combines the two. So to answer your question, yes, the grounding similarities with the types would be the unexplained sadness or outburst of negative emotions, prolonged. So yeah.
Now let's get into the diagnosis of these two, because it's important somebody to know where they are, so that they don't confuse burnout, sadness, loneliness, depression, and all that. In our society currently, it's just recently that people are beginning to advocate for mental health awareness, advocate for emotional intelligence, and not everybody is into that vibe. People are still bottling themselves, and they're trying to act mature, but then it's costing them. And it's even worse for men, because nobody wants to see a crybaby man anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, you're asked to be a man. Of course, it's a hard thing, but then we just try to walk over it. So now, how can somebody know, apart from, of course, getting out of themselves to seek for a professional, how else can they know the state in which they are in, whether it's burnout, depression, loneliness, or sadness?
That's pretty tough, actually, because there's always the conflict of the fact that, like I was saying in the beginning, that self-diagnosis does more damage than good in most cases, but there are those rare cases that it does help. But the key thing that I found to be working, even just to I and my peers and just everyone that I've encountered and just studying, is self-awareness, which is basically just being aware of yourself and how you act with different things, different people, different emotions. So being that aware could also help you not only know which state you're in, but control yourself. So let's say I'm someone who is pretty aware of my personality. I know that I can't get along with, maybe, let's say, your personality. So to avoid the mental stress, I wouldn't, interact with you for the sake of my own mind and your own mind. So but then those who aren't aware maybe can just continue going on and interact with people until they realize later on it's a bit too late that what they have been doing really isn't helping them. So self-aware, I would say, is usually I feel like it's the key to like immediate care and knowledge and understanding of the state that you're in.
But then that still doesn't underscore the fact that you should seek professional help.
Exactly. Because now, for someone who is self-aware, actually there's this thing that, or like notion that, self-awareness that can help the client solve the... Not exactly. Just because I'm self-aware doesn't mean I'm going to help myself. So being self-aware can have two sides, like two sides of the same coin. I can either get up and get help, or suck down and realize, oh my god, I'm in so much pain, I can't do anything, and I just so it's two sides of the same coin. So in as much as I'm advocating self-awareness, being there's this say that I like to use a lot, too much of everything is harmful. So just know yourself, but also as you know yourself, know how to help yourself. Don't just know yourself, because knowing yourself, sure, you've known yourself, but what have you done? Nothing. You haven't helped yourself. You're still in that same state. So so getting professional help also is just as important, because you can't really cure depression by knowing I have depression. If anything, you're making yourself worse, to be honest, which is why self-diagnosis is not advocated for.
You're a university student, right?
Yes.
And you live in this environment. For the typical African, the typical Kenyan,
Yes.
University is a place where you spread your wings and fly. You get this freedom that you aren't getting in high school or at home.
Yes.
You come here, do whatever you want, and you either build yourself or destroy yourself.
Yes.
Now, how can this environment build or destroy one's psyche?
When I was a fresh man, or rather like when I just came out of high school and came straight to uni, I realized that there's this thing we used to call orientation, but usually it's for the environment. It's not necessarily for the fact that they're gonna show you the difference between high school and university. So for most people, you come and tend to see the difference of them in the second year, because in that first year they tend to be adjusting, and there's usually, most of the times, we don't have the help we need to adjust well in the first year. So you find someone in the second year, those who are well equipped and those who God have blessed them to have good personality and good psyche and good brains or whatever, will tend to maybe go better off, or will be better off than the people who are just hopefully waiting for someone to show them the way. So I feel like one thing that I really wished, or if I could go back and want to tell whatever university I went to that I am in to do is educate us, or like show us in as much as you call it orientation, please call it orientation that features all sides of the university, meaning it teaches what exactly university entails. Because I come here, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be like high school but more freedom, but that's not true. Because in university, first of all, no one really cares if you come to class or not, unless you go to a really strict uni. But for most cases, they don't really care about that. So if you're really used to just being tied down and having that as your go to what, like that's the only thing that's your motivation, then you would find yourself lost. Or if you're someone who is used to so free, who is used to being so tied, and you don't know what freedom is, when you come to uni and that no one has really told you, you end up being too free, which again doesn't really help. So I would say orientation in what exactly university is in terms of academic wise, so just that basic, I feel like it would save so many lives and even decrease dropout rates for a fact. That I can tell you. So in increasing and breaking someone's psyche, the first year of university usually is the biggest and the most important one. I remember I used to be told, oh, it's the first year, it's the important one, but not really told. All they told me is because it's important because it builds up your academic life. And I'm like, sure. But how am I supposed to adjust to the fact that in high school I used to have 8 subjects, or how many I have 10, and then now I'm coming here to 3 subjects. What am I supposed to do in between? No one told me, but they still told me, oh yeah, but this year is so important for you because you need to get your GPA right and all that stuff, which honestly I feel like it was useless. It's like throwing fire with water. What are you doing? You're not helping. So I would say that is literally the biggest thing, because then that can also help someone to understand themselves and how they can work their next 4 years or 2 years or even that 1 year on itself, for someone to be able to come out of that and be like, you know what, I'm glad I had this year.
Let's talk about academic excellence vis-a-vis the entire social integration of somebody. You know, everybody, I think, unless you are not raised right, I think everybody comes to succeed in university. You want to get your degree, you want to get your diploma, you want to, get up to PhD, you want to get a first class, for instance. But then, in as much as you're digging your head into books, there's also a life to be lived. And most people confuse the two. They say that, no, I've just come here for school, and that's, academic excellence, and that's all. And, I think that's the reason why we end up having first class. No offense meant. I think that's why we get to have first class graduates who, out of the library, they are nothing. Because they didn't integrate themselves.
The A students, like we say.
So now, what could be the remedy that you can perform well in school academically, but then also be a well-rounded person? What should be done to create this kind of people out of university?
I don't know if I can answer for almost everyone, but what I can say is just understanding of yourself, man. I feel like that's what it comes down to, understand yourself. And also the orientation that I was talking about, that when you come to university, you are kind of sort of not directed, but wrapped up around the idea of what university is. So when this person comes inside this place, they don't need to tell us exactly, but just the general idea can make someone like understand, okay, so this place has this and this, okay, so what can I do to make this fit for me, set something similar to that. I feel like, at least with how I have spoken with different people, that's what they've come to appreciate the most also, because there's a difference between me entering in a black hole that has nothing, like I just see a black hole, I don't see it and I just pass it, and there's a warning there. My mind will automatically tune to be like, okay, this, I can't cross over that, I'll fall, or unless I have the ability to cross, I shall cross, because I have that warning. I'm aware, I know what that is. So just understanding yourself, and just that, having also idea of what university entails. I feel like university is overrated, to be honest. It really is, because most people, at least for our age, they'll be like, you don't have a girlfriend, what are you doing? You haven't had sex, what are you doing? So much of it is so overrated that even it removes the idea of university itself, which is build your youth. That's what university is. But it's been molded into so many things, and because you don't have the actual understanding of it, we find so many people lost. Even I was lost, I have to admit. So just understanding of your environment, yourself, what is it that has made you go there, that's.
There's a quote by, I can't remember the owner of this quote, but at least let me acknowledge it. It goes, looking deep inside can be scary at times, but in order for you to live, you have to do that, and do that well. I can relate. I know you can relate.
It is.
So, any final word for our viewers?
I hope that I didn't lose people in speaking, and that it's clear. And it's not that I'm saying one side is right or the other side is wrong. It's more of just bringing awareness, but like awareness to whatever topic that is being raised. Know about it, learn about it. Just don't be content with, oh, this is what people are doing, okay, let me do that. Also, don't be content with what, let's say, your 5 minutes of said. Sometimes really you need to go beyond that. But university can be fun. It is fun, but just learn to understand the university itself, learn to understand yourself, learn to understand what it is you're doing, and you honestly, it will make burnout not exist in your life, at least for university, up until you get a job that you hate, which I hope you don't. But someone can reach out to me if they need to. Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question. How do they reach
all right, now how do you reach? Yeah, that's a good question. That's actually a good question. How can they reach?
How can they reach you?
Honestly, it's my number. That's the only thing I have.
So
I don't have.
you want us to publicize your number here?
No. So
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking. Damn.
Okay, I'll call you for part 2 of this, and then I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
have a way
Yes.
to
Exactly.
to reach out to you.
How they can reach me? We are gonna have a part 2. So on the part 2, just
Okay.
you get the reaching out part. For now, enjoy the video.
Okay. Thank you so much for staying with us till the end. I'm glad, and I hope you've learned, you've grown. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for.
I hope you'll be here one more time.
Yes.
Of course, we're having a grand finale of episode 10. Then from that, we begin season 2 of the same series. Thank you for staying with us. Always remember to give us a comment. Tell us what you've learned. Tell us how we can improve. And remember to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best in your lives.
Thank you, you too.